The story shows a betrayed CIA agent who races to stop global blackmail and save her husband. The film begins in Tokyo, where Avery Graves, a highly skilled spy, prepares for her mission atop a roof. She infiltrates a building with precision, neutralizing a guard with ease. Facing her target, she demands access to his safe, but a second guard interrupts, leading to a brief fight that Avery quickly dominates. She follows a blood trail as she pursues her prey. More guards arrive, which she quickly overcomes. Finally, she catches up to her target and defeats him in a brief one-sided struggle. The action moves to Zagreb, Croatia, when Avery comes home to her husband, David. The two embrace, and she presents him with a gift for their wedding anniversary. Unbeknownst to David, Avery is a deadly agent. Avery goes to her office the next day, when her supervisor Jarvis asks her about her recent vacation to Tokyo. After talking, they go to the hidden basement of their organization, where Avery is informed of a significant assassination that has left her agency unsure of its perpetrator. When Avery returns home to shop in the hopes of spending time with David, she discovers her home in ruins and learns that David has been abducted. His kidnappers phone her and demand that she grab confidential CIA documents that hold vital information in order to save him. Avery has 9 hours to obtain the files, or David will be killed. Desperate, Avery contacts an old friend, Sarah, a skilled hacker, for help in tracing the last incoming call. Sarah begins tracking, but it will take some time to locate the exact position. Avery returns to her HQ to get information about Canary Black. Because only a few agents have access, she hacks the system to collect potentially vital information. Sarah provides her a location at that point, and Avery arrives to find only a phone. Suddenly, she gets a call from her kidnapper, Nav, who confesses that they are aware of her antics. It turns out to be a trap with a bomb on the premises. Panicking, Avery disarms it and escapes unscathed. The scene moves to a CIA black site, where Avery meets with a fellow operative called Maxfield. She wants detailed information from an assassin in custody, her only way to access their database. Avery interrogates the prisoner about Canary Black, but he refuses to talk. She uses force, pulling one of his teeth. Maxfield intervenes, but is overcome by Avery, who flees. Maxfield discovers that the excised tooth is empty. Avery has stolen something from it. She makes her escape successfully. Meanwhile, the CIA learns of Avery's deeds and instructs Jarvis to apprehend her. He is briefed about Canary Black, a highly confidential list of government spies created to detect weaknesses that foreign nations may exploit to turn officials into agents. Jarvis is also reminded that a video of him from 4 years ago is included in the Canary Black file. Jarvis, realizing the implications, immediately begins pursuing Avery Graves. Meanwhile, Avery continues her goal by stealing into Jarvis' home. She calls him via his wife's phone, detailing her husband's captivity and the demand for the Canary Black files as ransom. She also informs him that there was nothing in the assassin's teeth. She begs him for aid, asking him to inspect her house since the kidnappers had taken David. Jarvis and Maxfield arrive to Avery's home, but everything looks regular and organized. Fortunately, Jarvis feels the kidnappers are behind this deception. Avery then heads to a club, where she meets a man to discuss the kidnappers. She requests a list of foreign assassin agents. Later, she travels to a building linked to one of the kidnappers' groups, fights, and emerges triumphant. Shortly thereafter, she receives a call from the kidnappers informing her that there is nothing valuable in her luggage. Avery responds that there was nothing in the assassin's tooth, infuriating the captors who proceed to torment her husband. Avery begs them to stop, but she only has 4 hours left. Avery then meets with Jarvis to apologize for not alerting him sooner. Jarvis describes her well-organized home and explains what Canary Black involves, noting that her name is also on the list. During their conversation, CIA agents suddenly arrive and arrest Avery. While being transported, They interrogate her about the files, but their convoy is attacked by a group that places explosives around the vehicle, causing an explosion. Avery lives, acquires a weapon, and engages in a gunfight with CIA agents. Despite her wounds, she overcomes them and flees. Avery then secures a hotel room under the identity Olivia Oxley. She is aware that Nathan, a security council member, is staying at the hotel. She sneaks out of her room and goes to his, where she receives a distressing message regarding David, adding to her uneasiness. Nathan soon arrives in his hotel room, and Avery apprehends him, gagged to prevent his guards from hearing any screams. She questions him, requesting the password to view the Canary Black files. When Nathan resists, she begins to torture him. Eventually, he gives her a fake password which locks her out of the system. Avery, enraged, hits Nathan again, knocking him unconscious. She asks Sarah for assistance with the laptop and phones Jarvis, who agrees to help. Avery then meets with Sarah, and together they employ a huge drone to swiftly gather intelligence in order to reach the CIA headquarters. Avery successfully accesses the Canary Black files and begins copying all of the data. Nathan, who has recovered consciousness, is discovered laying on the floor by his guards. His assistant, Elizabeth, warns him of Avery Graves' scheme to steal important material, which Avery has successfully stolen. Now, all security forces are aware of her location, so Avery jumps out of a window. Sarah, piloting her drone, helps Avery escape, but the drone is hit by CIA guards, resulting in Avery making a rough landing. In a flash, she snatches a car and escapes. Nathan discovers that Avery has acquired the Canary Black file when he is trying to find out more about her. The action switches to Sarah and Avery reading the information and learning that Canary Black is an apocalyptic virus that targets every nation rather than a blacklist. Avery understands this and goes to the meeting spot to get a call with her husband's last known whereabouts. Her arrival is delayed, nevertheless, by an accident. One of the kidnappers attacks her when she arrives, making fun of her tardiness and giving her an injection that makes her faint. Elsewhere, Nav begins his mission by broadcasting a message with a mask, hacking a building where government officials are meeting. He leaves behind a terrifying message, threatening to cut off all electricity and internet in any nation that disagrees with him and demanding a ransom of 1% of each nation's GDP. Tracking Avery, Jarvis mercilessly kills everyone in his way until being apprehended and sent to Nav, the operations chief. Nav shoots Jarvis during their altercation and starts tormenting Avery. Nav checks on the ransom funds while he gives his guys orders to fetch David and shoot him. David surprises Avery with his fighting prowess by defeating one of Nav's guys. David reveals he is also an agent and admits that this was part of his plan to obtain the file, although things went further than he intended. He reassures Avery that his affections for her are always real, and she gradually begins to trust him. They work together to take down the hacker server, but Avery discovers Jarvis' lifeless body. David switches off the building's servers, and Avery sneaks into the basement, overhearing Nav and his men. She seizes the chance and begins bringing them down one by one. During the struggle, Nav directs his troops to activate the virus and link it to the internet, which David had earlier deactivated. Avery follows him. Nav defends his hacker, sparking a gunfight. Avery shoots the hacker, incapacitating him, but Nav orders him to launch the malware nonetheless. With Nav injured, Avery takes the opportunity to attack, sparking a brutal fight. Both are wounded, and as the hacker attempts to upload the virus, Avery suffers but ultimately overpowers Nav. When she realizes the virus upload is in process, she immediately stops it, removing the laptop from the internet just in time. David then approaches her, apologizing and admitting his true love, saying that all he wanted was to protect her. Avery, on the other hand, returns his wedding ring, and David exits the building by leaping. Security Council members and CIA operatives come, seizing Avery. Nathan grills Avery in an interrogation chamber, bombarding her with questions. Avery keeps mute until a woman approaches and offers him a job with MI6. She promises Avery will be freed and her criminal record wiped clean. This is the end of the story. Thanks for viewing and see you next time.